Hi guys, welcome again to Sunil Engineering Academy YouTube channel. As we all know, a special complete arithmetic series has been started in our channel and it has been running very successfully. This is another video as a part of that series and let's start the video. The first question in this session is a factory employed skilled workers, unskilled workers and clerks in the ratio of 8 is to 5 is to 1. And the wages of skilled workers, unskilled and the clerk are in the ratio of 5 is to 2 is to 3. When 20 unskilled workers are employed, the total daily wage of all amount rupees 3180. Find the daily wages paid to each category of employees. This is the first question in this session. Please read the question. In a factory, there are three categories of employees: skilled workers, unskilled workers, and clerks. And the number of employees in those categories are in the ratio of 8 is to 5 is to 1. And their wages are respectively in the ratio of 5 is to 2 is to 3. Their wages are in the ratio of 5 is to 2 is to 3 respectively. Okay. When 20 unskilled workers are employed, the total daily wage of all amounts to 3180 rupees. Okay, this is nothing but the total amount paid to them. Okay, let us assume there are four persons working in an office and the per head wage is 8 rupees. If we take the number of employees as 4 and the per head wage or expense as for 8 rupees, then the total wage paid by that employer is nothing but the 4 times of the 8, that is 32 rupees. We are going to solve this question in the same manner. Let us take the ratio of skilled workers, unskilled workers and the clerks as 8 is to 5 is to 1 given in the ratio 8 is to 5 is to 1. That means we are assuming that the skilled workers are 8 members, unskilled workers are 5 members and clerks are one member. And the wages of the skilled, unskilled and clerk is in the ratio of 5 is to 2 is to 3 respectively. Let us assume the wage of the each skilled person is 5 rupees as given in the ratio itself, and the wage of the each unskilled worker is 2 rupees, and the wage of the clerk is 3 rupees. Then the total amount need to be paid by that employer is nothing but 8 5s, that is 40, 5 2s are 10 and 3 1s is 3. Then the total amount he need to give in terms of wages is nothing but 53 rupees. But the actual total daily wage of that employer is given as 3180. When the value of 53 units is becoming 3180, the value of 1 unit is nothing but 60. Okay. Then we need to tell the daily wages of each category of those persons. Then the total wage of that skilled workers is nothing but the 60 times of 40. When the value of 1 unit is 60, to get the actual numbers, we need to multiply any term in that ratio with 60 to get the actual numbers. Then the total wage of the skilled workers would be 60 times of 40. That is 2400. And the total wage of unskilled workers is nothing but 60 times of 10, that is 600 rupees. And the total daily wage of the clerks is nothing but 60 times of 3 rupees, that is 180 rupees. Then the final daily wage paid to each category of employees is 2400, 600 and 180 rupees respectively. Where is that? 2400, 600 and 180. That is option C. 2400, 600 and 180 would be our answer. Okay. Let's move to another question. The prime cost of an article is thrice of raw material. If the cost of raw material is increased in the ratio of 5 is to 12 and the cost of manufacturing expenses is increased in the ratio of 4:5. If the initial cost is 6 rupees, then the final cost is the prime cost of an article. The prime cost. Then what is the prime cost? Prime cost is nothing but the total expenditure spent on the article. The prime cost is nothing but the total expenditure spent on that article. Let us assume we have purchased an item for 100 rupees and we spent 10 rupees for the transport, and that means to bring that item to our home, and we spent 20 rupees for repairs and paintings for that article. Then the prime cost of that article would be sum of all these elements, that is 100 rupees plus 10 rupees plus 20 rupees, that is 130 rupees. This is nothing but the prime cost. In this question, the prime cost is consist of two types of expenses, that is raw material and manufacturing expenses. That means raw material and manufacturing expenses. Then the prime cost is comprises of both raw material and manufacturing. If the cost of raw material is increased, the prime cost of an article is thrice of the raw material. The prime cost of raw material is thrice of raw material. Okay, in the first statement it is given that the prime cost of article is thrice of raw material. Let us assume the cost of raw material is 1 rupee. Then the prime cost of that article, is nothing but 3 rupees. If the raw material is 1 rupee and the prime cost is 3 rupees, then the manufacturing expenses would be 2 rupees. Okay. The cost of raw material is increased in the ratio of 5:12. The cost of raw material is increased in the ratio of 5:12. That means the ratio 5:12 means if the previous cost of raw material is 5 rupees, present cost of raw material is becoming 12 rupees. When 5 becomes 12, then the value of 1, but the actual cost of raw material we assumed in the question is 1 rupee. When 5 rupee becoming 12 rupee, then the value of 1 rupee would be 12 upon 5. The value of raw material present would be 12 upon 5. Okay. And the manufacturing expenses is increased in the ratio of 4:5. This 4:5. The manufacturing expenses are increased in the ratio of 4:5. That ratio 4:5 explains us that if the value of manufacturing expenses is 4 rupees, it is becoming 5 in this present. Then if 4 is becoming 5, then the value of 2, but the 2 rupees are the money we assumed as the manufacturing expenses. Then the value of 2 would be half of 5, that is 5/2. Half of 5, that is 5/2. Then the manufacturing expenses would be 5 upon 2. Okay, I hope you are very clear with that. Okay, we already know that the prime cost is nothing but the summation of raw material and manufacturing. Then the prime cost of the article after the increase of those expenses would be sum of these 12 upon 5 and 5 upon 2. Then the total prime cost would be 24 plus 25, that is 49/10. 49/10, that means 4.9 rupees. Okay. But look at the information given in the question. If the initial cost is 6 rupees, then find the final cost. The initial cost of that article is given as 6 rupees. That means the 3 rupees what we assumed is nothing but 6 rupees. When 3 becomes 6 rupees, that means twice of 3, the value of 4.9 becomes 9.8. The value of 4.9 becomes 9.8. Okay. So the final cost after the increasing of all these elements, the final cost of that article becomes 9.8 rupees. Where is that? Option A, 9.8 rupees would be our answer. Okay. Let us move. If A, B, C, D and E are in continued proportion, then A by E is equal to A, B, C, D and E are in continued proportion. What is continued proportion? In my previous classes, I have discussed all the things about the ratio and proportion, and all the properties were discussed in my previous videos. Those students who are watching, who have been watching my videos regularly, would be very comfortable with all these terms. Continued proportion. If the ratio between any two consecutive terms of a ratio or a series is uniform, then we can say those elements are in a continued proportion. That means if we take A, B, C, D, E, if we take A, B, C, D, E are in continuous proportion, then the ratio between A and B, ratio between B and C, ratio between C and D, and the ratio between D and E are uniform. Okay, that is what we call the continued proportion. Okay, that means we are given with, that is A by B is equal to B by C equal to C by D is equal to D by E. Okay, then A by E, we need to find A upon E, A upon E. In my previous classes we have came through one thing, that if we know A by B is equal to 1 by 2, B by C equal to 3 by 4, if we need A by C, that means the first term and the last term of the series, the first term and the last term, just to multiply those two things, that means the multiply those two things, that is A upon B and B upon C. When we multiple both the fractions, the B gets cancelled, and what we remained is nothing but A upon C. This is what we need to find out. In this case also, when A, B, C, D and E, C, D and E are in continued proportion, the ratio between A and B, the ratio between B and C, the ratio between C and D, and the ratio between D and E is uniform. Okay, and we need to find A upon E. That means we need the first term and the last term. So we are going to do a simple thing here, that is multiply all those fractions with one each other. That means A by B into B by C into C upon D into D upon E. We came with A upon E, that A upon E, but we need to find the actual value of A upon B. When A, let us assume when A upon B is equal to B upon C, we can take that A equal to B, we can take that A equal to B and B equal to C, that means B equal to C. Okay, in the same manner, let us assume all this B as A, this C as A, and this D as A, this C as B, this D as B, and this E as B also. Then A upon E would be, when this B is nothing but A, this C is nothing but A, and this D is nothing but A, we are going to multiply all those things. That A by E is nothing but the final result of the product of A upon B, B upon C, C upon D, and D upon E. When we assumed A upon B by C, B upon C as A by B, and the C upon D as A by B, and D upon E as A by B, then the final result would be A power 4 by B power 4. The value of A upon E is nothing but A power 4 upon B power 4. Where is that? Option B. A upon 4, A power 4 upon B power 4. That is option B would be our correct answer. Okay. Let's move to the next question. If A upon B equal to B upon C equal to C upon D equal to D upon E equal to 3 by 4, then A upon E. We have just discussed about all these things. When we need to find the A upon E, that means the first term and the last term, just multiple all those ratios are the fractions. A upon E would be A upon B, the product of A upon B, B upon C, C upon D, and D upon E. But all those ratios A upon B, B, C, B is to C, C is to D, D is to E, all are equal to 3 by 4. That means the result of A upon E is nothing but A power 4 by B power 4. When A by B is equal to 3 by 4, then the result would be 3 power 4 by 4 power 4. That is 81 by 256. Okay, 81 by 256. Where is that? Option C. 81 by 256 would be our answer. Okay. Next one. If x varies as the mth power of y varies as the nth power of z, and x varies as the pth power of z, then which of the following is correct? Okay, just pause the video and read the question again and get the complete understanding of the information given in the question. If x varies as the mth power of y, that means x is equal to mth power of y, that means y power m. X is given as mth power of y. But you may ask me that x varies as the mth power of y, but x is not equal to m. It is not given in the question that x equal to mth power of y. Okay. When x varies, let us take when x varies with a, we can assume, we can take that x equal to ka. Here k is a constant. And again y varies as the nth power of z. When y varies as the nth power of z, we can assume a constant k upon z something, any variable. Let us neglect that variable. We are not going to find the result of that variable. So just neglect that variable and take the mth power of y. When x varies as the mth power of y, just take x equal to mth power of y. Okay. And y varies as the nth power of z, and y is equal to nth power of z, that means z power n. And x varies as the pth power of z, that means x again, the x is varies as the pth power of z, that means z power p. Which of the following is the correct relation? We need to find the correct relation. Okay. When x equal to y power m, and again here the value of y is nothing but z power n. Let us substitute the value of x as z power n in the given ratio x, in the given expression x equal to y power m. Here the value of y from this expression is z power n whole power m. When y is z power n, y power m would be z power n whole power m. That means z power n m. A power m whole power n is equal to a power mn. Okay, we know the expression, we know the formula. X equal to z power n whole power m, that means x equal to z power nm. Again the value of x is given as z power p. X is nothing but z power p. When x equal to z power p, it is equal to z power nm. When the bases are equal, the exponents would be equal. When the bases are equal, the exponents would be equal. We have known all these things from these certain indices that z power, when the bases are equal, z equal, then the exponents would be equal. That means the p equal to nm, p equal to lm. That is the correct relation. Where is that? P equal to mn. That is the correct relation. Option C would be our answer. Okay. Next one. If x equal to y power a, y equal to z power b, and z equal to x power c, then the value of a, b, c is. Very simple question, and these types of questions are asked in the SSC examinations. X equal to y power a, x equal to y power a, and the y value is nothing but z power b. Just substitute the value of y as z power b. Then the value of x would be z power b whole power a, that is nothing but z power ab. And again the z is not given as x power c. Z is given as x power c. Substitute the value of z as x power c. Then we are going to come with z equal to, the z value is x power c and whole power ab. Then the value of x equal to x power abc. If a power m whole power n equal to a power mn, then x power c whole power ab would be x equal to x power abc. When x power 1, if we write x, that means that it has an exponent of 1. Okay, it has an exponent of 1. When we write 2, it has an exponent of 1. But in simple terms, we take the exponent, the 2 power 1 as 2. Okay, in the same way, when we write x, that means x has an exponent of 1. When x power 1 equal to x power abc, when the bases are equal, then the exponents would be equal, then abc would be 1. Then the abc would be 1. Where is that? Option A, 1 would be our answer. Okay. Next one. A, B, C and D purchased a gift worth 60 rupees. A pays one half of what others paid, and B pays one third of what others paid, and C purchased, not purchased, paid one fourth of what others paid. And then what is the amount paid by D? Here C, not purchased but paid. Take it as paid. C, paid. Paid one fourth of what others paid. What is the amount paid by D? Okay. ABCD together bought a gift worth 60 rupees. Okay. And they distributed the amount, yeah, their shares. A paid one half of what others paid. A paid one half of what others paid. That means if A paid one half of what others paid, that means they together, that means the A, B, C, D. The ratio of A to sum of B, C, D is nothing but 1:2. Then the combination of A, B, C, D is nothing but 3 rupees. Okay, 3, the units of 3. In the same manner, just understand the same manner, when A pays 1/2 of the others paid, that means they together paid 3 units. When the value of 3 units is 60 rupees, then what A paid is 1 unit. That means the 1 is 20 rupees. That means A paid 20 rupees. B paid one third of what others. B paid one third of what others. That means they together paid 4 rupees. 3 plus 1, 4 rupees. When the value of 4 units is 60 rupees, then the value of 1 would be 415. So like that 115. That is B paid 15 rupees. And C paid one fourth of others paid. C paid one fourth of what others paid. That means C paid 1 rupee when the others together paid 4 rupees. Then we can take the altogether ABCD paid 5 units. ABCD paid 5 units. That means 1 plus 4. When the value of 5 units is 60 rupees, then the value of 1 unit that C paid is nothing but 12 rupees. C paid 12 rupees. Together A, B and C. Together A, B and C paid 20 plus 15, 35 plus 12, that is 47 rupees. Together A plus B plus C paid 47 rupees, but the gift was worth of 60 rupees. Then the other 13 rupees, were paid by D. Then the other 13 rupees are paid by D. Okay. Then the amount paid by D is nothing but 13 rupees. Very simple question, and you don't need to write all these things when you are very comfortable with all this. 2 plus 1 is 3. When 3 is 60, that means 20 times, then 1 rupee, one part would be 20 rupees. 3 plus 1, that is 4. When 4 parts is equal 60, then 1 part is nothing but 15 rupees. 1 plus 4, that is 5. When 5 is 60, 1 unit will be 12. The sum of 20, 15 and 12 is 47. Out of 60 rupees, ABC together paid 47 rupees, and the other 13 rupees were paid by D. You can solve the question like this very easily, and you don't need to write all these things. But for those who are very amateurs with the arithmetic and who are just started for preparing arithmetic, for those the understanding of those candidates, I have written all these things, but you don't need to write all these things once you are comfortable with the ratio and the multiplications. Okay. Now our answer would be 13 rupees. 13 rupees. The option C, 13 rupees would be our answer. The ratio of A, B and C of the last year income is 3:4:5. The ratio of A, B and C last year and current year is 4:5, 2:3, 3:4 respectively. If the sum of current incomes of A, B and C is 78,800, find the sum of current incomes of A, B and C in rupees. Just read the question again. The ratio of incomes of A, B, C in the last year is in the ratio of 3:4:5. The ratio of incomes of A, B, C in the last year was in the ratio of 3:4:5. Just take the income of A in the last year as 3 rupees and the income of B as 4 rupees and the income of C as 5 rupees respectively. Let us take the values of the incomes of A in the last year 3 rupees, B 4 rupees, C 5 rupees respectively. Okay. It is given in the question that the ratio of A, B, C, the ratio of the incomes of A, B, C in the last year and the current year are in the ratio of 4:5, 2:3 and 3:4 respectively. Let us understand what 4:5 is explaining us. The 4:5, When the income of A in the last year is 4 rupees, it is 5 rupees in this present year. When the previous income of A is 4 rupees, it is becoming 5 now. When 4 becomes 5, then the value of 3, what we assumed as the last year's income of A, the value of 3 would be, when 4 becomes 5, 3 becomes 3 times of 5 upon 4. That means 15 upon 4. That is 15 upon 4. Okay. In the same way, let us draw the amounts of B and C from the given ratios. The income of B is changed in the ratio of 2:3. That means if the last year income of B is 2 rupees, that is 3 rupees at present. But for the from the information what we assumed as the last year's income of B, that is 4 rupees, when 2 becomes 3, then 4 becomes 6, then 4 becomes 6. That means the value of B would be 6. In the same manner, when 3 becomes 4, when 3 becomes 4, 5 becomes 5 times of 4 upon 3, that is 20 upon 3, that is 20 upon 3. Okay. Just to convert that fractional ratio into a linear ratio. To do so, just take a common multiple of both 4 and 3. The denominator is 4 and 3. In this case, I am going to take 12 as a common multiple. Then we are going to get a linear ratio. 4 ones and 4 threes, that means 45 is to 12 times of 6, that is 72, is to 3 ones and 3 4, that is 80. That is 80. The present incomes of A, B, C are in the ratio of 45 is to 72 is to 80. But in the question it is given that the present income of A, B, C together is 78800. That is 78,800 rupees. The sum of A, B, C here, 45 and 72 and 80, is going to be compared with 78800. Okay. That means 197 units. The sum of 45, 72 and 80 is nothing but 197 units. When the value of 197 is 78800, when the value of 197 is 78800, that means it is 400 times. The value of 1 unit would be 4 times of 197 is nothing but 788. That is 400. The value of 1 unit would be 400. From that value of 1 unit, we can easily say that the value of 45 would be 4 times of 45, that is 18000. The value of 72 would be 400 times of 72, that is 28800, and the value of 80 units would be 400 times of 80, that is 32000, 32,000. Then the sum of, then find the not the sum of current incomes, not the sum of current incomes, just the current incomes of ABC. The current incomes of ABC are nothing but 18,000, 28,800 and 32,000. Where is that? Option A, 18,000, 28,800 and 32,000 would be our answers. Next question. Mohan distributed his assets to his wife, 3 sons, 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren in such a way that each grandchild got 1/8 of each son and 1/10 of each daughter. His wife got 40% of the total share of his sons and daughters together. If each daughter receives assets of worth 1.25 lakh, what is the share of his wife? Okay, just it is a question with some lengthy information. Just pause the video and read the question until you get a clear cut understanding of that question. Okay. Mohan distributed his assets to his wife. 3 sons, that means sons number is 3. 3 sons, and there is a daughter of 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren of 5 members. Okay. He got 1 wife, 3 sons, 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren. He distributed his assets among them. Okay. In such a way that each grandchild got 1/8 of each son and 1/10 of each daughter. That means the amount of each grandchild got is 1/8 of each son. That means the amount that grandchild got is nothing but the 1/8 of the what son is getting. 1/8 of what each son is getting and 1/10 of what each daughter is getting. That means if we assume that daughter is getting D rupees, then the amount of grandchild would be the 10th part of that daughter's part. Okay. In my previous video or in my our sessions of ratio and proportion, we came to know that if A upon 1 is equal to B upon 2 is equal to C upon 3, then the ratio of A is to B is to C would be the ratio of the denominators of that of that fractions. Okay, I hope you all know this concept. In my previous videos, I have discussed about all the basic concepts and properties of ratio and proportion, and this is one of those. I hope you all know this from my videos. When A upon 1 equal to B upon 2 equal to C upon 3, then the ratio of A is to B is to C would be the ratio of those three denominators respectively. That is 1 is to 2 is to 3. In the same way, when grandchild is equal to 1/8 of son and 1/10 of 10, all these things are equal to each other. That means the grandchild upon 1 equal to S upon 8 equal to D upon 10. The ratio of grandchild to son to daughter would be 1 is to 8 is to 10. 1 is to 8 is to 10. Okay. Then let us assume the share of grandchild is 1 rupee. Share of grandchild is 1 rupee. Then the share of son would be 8 rupees. Share of son would be 8 rupees. And the share of daughter would be 10 rupees. Share of daughter would be 10 rupees. From the given information at the middle part of the question, we came to a conclusion that the ratios of grandchild, son and daughter are in the ratio of 1 is to 8 is to 10. And we have assumed those amounts for those persons. Okay. Now, move to the another information given in that question. His wife got 40% of the total share of his sons and daughters together. His wife got 40% of the total share of his sons and daughters together. Total share of his sons and daughters together. When there are 3 sons and each son got 8 rupees, then the total amount possessed by the 3 sons would be 8 times of the, that is 24 rupees. 24 rupees. When the share of each daughter is 10 rupees and there are 2 daughters, then the combined share of daughters would be 20 rupees. That is 20 rupees. Okay. And the share of wife is, according to the question, the share of wife is 40% of the total share of his sons and daughters together. Together, sons and daughters possessed 44 rupees. Together, sons and daughters possessed 44 rupees. Then the share of wife would be 40% of 44. For we can write that 40% as 2 upon 5. Let us write that 40% as 2 upon 5. Then the share of wife would be 40%. That means 2 upon 5 of the combined shares of sons and daughters together. That is 44 rupees. 44 rupees. Okay. And again it is given in the question that each daughter receives an assets of 1.25 lakh. That 1.25 lakh is nothing but 125,000. 1.25 lakh is nothing but 125,000. We need to find the share of his wife. It is given in the question that share of each daughter is 125,000. That means 10 rupees according to what we assume. When the value of 10 is nothing but 125,000. Let us remember that 125 indicates 125,000. Okay, 125,000. When the value of 10 is 125,000, the share of wife is 2/5 of 44. That is 2/5 of 44 would be into 125 divided by 10. 25 5s and 25 2s and 2 1s and 2 2s. Then the value share of wife would be 5 times of 44. That is 220. That is 220. 220. But 220 is in terms of thousands. When 125 is representing 125,000, 220 represents 220,000, then our correct answer would be 220,000 or 2,20,000. The share of wife is nothing but 2,20,000. Okay, a very good question, and we have solved it very wisely and very easily. Okay, next one. A sum of money is distributed among A, B, C in the ratio of 6:11:9. If C gives 500 from his share to B, then the ratio of incomes of A, B, C becomes 3:6:4. Find the total sum. Find the total sum. Okay. A sum of money was distributed among A, B, C in the ratio of 6:11:M. 6:11:9. 6:11:9. If C gives 500 from his share, then the ratio of A, B, C becomes 3:6:4. 3:6:4. We need to find the total sum. Okay. Just read the question and understand one thing. If you understand one thing, then the question would be solved very easily. Whether the ratio in the form of 6:11:9 or in the form of 3:6:4, whether the ratio can be in any form, but the amount they distributed among themselves is the uniform. They distributed the amount in the 6:11:9 and again they do some changes and the amount became the ratio of 3:6:4. No matter what is the ratio among them, but the amount they distributed is same in the both the cases. Is same in the both the cases. When we came to understand that, that means then the amounts that sum is representing should be also equal. The ratio, the sum of this ratio 6:11:9 is nothing but 26, and the sum of the 3:6:4 is 13. But the amount they distributed among themselves is uniform, then made that ratio also in uniform way. To do so, when the sum of these ratio is 26, just made the sum of this ratio also 26. To do so, we need to multiple that 13 with 2 to get 26 rupees, 2 by 6 rupees. So, we are going to multiple these times 3:6:4, each of the 3:6:4 with 2 to get equal sum on both the ratios. Okay, I hope you have understood what I have said. Okay, let us take the ratio of A, B, C in the ratio of 6:11:9 and just take the ratios of A, B, C after C gives 500 to B as the ratios of these three. Multiple that 3 as with 2, multiple that 3 with 2, then you get 6. Multiple this 6 with 2, then you would get 12, and multiple this 4 with 2, then you would get 8. The actual distribution of money among A, B, C was in the ratio of 6:11:9. But after C transferred some 500 of amount to B, the ratio became 6:12:8. Observe here A. Observe here there was no change for A, but the difference, but that change was between B and C only. Between B and C only. The actual amount of money that B got was 9, but he transferred some amount of 500 rupees to B. Here he transferred 1 unit from C to 1. When we transferred 1 unit from C, the value of C from 9 became 8, and when after getting 1 unit from C, the value of B became from 11 to 12. That value of 1 unit is given as 500 rupees in the question, and we need to find the total sum. The total sum is nothing but 26 rupees. When the value of 1 unit is 500, then the value of 26 would be 130,000. That means 13,000. That is 13,000. Option B, 13,000 would be our answer. Okay. This is the wisest way to solve these type of questions. Don't go with the traditional methods of assuming 6x, 11x and 9x. When we are very comfortable to understand that whether the ratio is in the form of, no matter whether the ratio is in any form, but the amount they distributed among is the same on each cases. If we are comfortable to get that point, you would be very comfortable to solve the question very wisely and very easily. That 26 total amount 26 rupees would be 130 hundreds. That means 13,000. Okay, there is nothing else in this video, and I hope you learned something in this, something unique in this video. And please share to your friends and subscribe our channel to and hit the bell icon to get instant notifications. And Please follow our channel to get more and more stuff coming towards you. Okay, let's meet another session. Thank you.